Welcome! You're cooking with Mrs. Salisbury. Today we're going to make some pumpkin spiced muffins. Pumpkin spiced muffins just makes us think about all the wonderful flavors we enjoy in the fall, all the wonderful spices, and they're all in this wonderful pumpkin spiced muffin of mine. So first of all, it's a 3-bowl recipe. So I have 1 bowl that I'm going to be putting in our dry ingredients. So we need 1.5 cups of flour. So here is 1. Take the table knife upside down, level it off. Here's 1. Then we have a half, 1.5, 1.5 upside down. Otherwise, we'd easily have another 4th cup of flour. 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Let's move this to the side. After we have our flour, then I need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 2 teaspoons of baking powder right here. Baking powder usually is in the can. It doesn't need an acid because it already has an acid in it. So we have our baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and we have a half teaspoon of salt, and we have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Very thankful for the bark of that cinnamon tree. And we have 1 teaspoon of ginger root, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. Cloves are very expensive. The reason they're so expensive is because when the buds turn pink, someone physically has to climb up a tree about 30 feet high when the buds turn pink and pick them off by hand. That's why the clove is shaped like this with a little stem underneath it. Then they're left to dry in the sun. So we have ground cloves here. So we have our flour, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, ginger, and cloves. Oh, love those spices. Who wouldn't love those spices? Okay, so we're going to mix it. Again, no dust storm. Mix it. Don't get wild with it. But I am smelling that wonderful fragrance. You're done. You don't need to go on and on. Done. So then I'm going to set this aside for a second because we're going to be creaming our ingredients. So to cream our ingredients, again, that would have to do with butter and sugars. So we need a half cube of butter. I have a beautiful depression glass plate from my great grandmother. Isn't it pretty? And so I need 4 tablespoons. That's a half a cube. 8 tablespoons or a half cup in a whole one. Half a cube, 4 tablespoons. So I need just a little bit. 4 tablespoons of butter. You can always save the wrapper to use to grease muffin tins, cake pans, whatever. Sometimes you can fold them, put them in a Ziploc bag, put it in the refrigerator if you like, and then use it for a wax paper to butter your cake pans. Okay, so we have 4 tablespoons of salted butter. I need a half cup of packed brown sugar. Here's my container of brown sugar. Always pack that brown sugar. Half cup packed brown sugar, like a little sandcastle. Let's set that over here. Now, brown sugar and butter, what we need to do is get our mixer. You could mix it by hand too if you like. And we're going to cream the ingredients. That means we're going to evenly, again, distribute the fat with the sugar so it'll bake evenly. Keep the mixer in the middle of the bowl. And room temperature butter. Still needs to mix a little bit more. I want it evenly distributed. There we go. That's done. There's our 4 tablespoons of butter, or half cube, and a half cup of packed brown sugar. In another bowl, we're going to set this aside. In another bowl, we're going to crack our egg. So we'll have an egg. We'll use this for the garbage bowl. Set this aside. We have our egg. Then we'll have a tablespoon of vegetable oil. 1 tablespoon vegetable oil. Only 1. Here's our 1 tablespoon. We'll set that in the sink. Wipe my hands off my apron here a second. Then I will have 1/2 cup of evaporated milk. Evaporated milk can be very creamy. It's wonderful in soups as well as some recipes. So 1/2 cup of evaporated milk. It does make a difference in this recipe. So 1/2 cup evaporated milk. You can set that in the sink. So we have our egg, our oil, evaporated milk. I'm going to use the wire whisk that was in our flour mixture. I'm going to gently whisk this to make sure the egg, oil, and milk are mixed up. Egg, oil, milk, that can be very common to mix up when we're doing a quick bread. Stop. You don't need to do more. Then to that, I'm going to add our 1/2 cup of pumpkin, solid packed pumpkin. Make sure that you don't get pumpkin pie filling. That has milk in it. You need solid packed pumpkin. Now, it comes in a couple different sizes. I have an escapee here, a couple different sizes. I'm going to put this here. Good thing to have paper towel sometimes. All right, and then I'm going to mix in the middle of the bowl, gently whisk. When you whisk, think of making little circles in the bottom of the bowl. It's not a big arm movement. It's little circles in the bottom of the bowl. It's in the wrist, as a chef told me once. In the wrist. So little tiny circles in the bottom of the bowl. Okay? Oh, it's turning that pretty pumpkin color too. Little tiny circles. These pumpkin muffins are, of course, lovely anytime, but they're also very good at Thanksgiving dinner. Just nice and warm. If you've made them ahead of time or frozen them, you can just zap them in the microwave. Really nice to have. So look at this. That's mixed. Don't need to keep mixing it. It's done. So I'm going to set this aside. The solid packed pumpkin, this is a larger can. You'd say, you've got quite a bit left over. Okay, I'm going to take it out of the can. I can make a pumpkin custard with it. You do not need to put a pumpkin custard in a water bath. You can just put it right in a glass pan, put it in the oven, bring it down to 350. You can also make a pumpkin bread. You can make a pumpkin pie. You can put pumpkin in pumpkin pancakes. I don't know what you want, but solid packed pumpkin. Take it out of the can though. Don't want food poisoning. Okay, so then we have our dry ingredients. We have creamed our butter and brown sugar. We have our egg, oil, and evaporated milk with our pumpkin, solid packed pumpkin. Now we're going to add the pumpkin mixture with the egg, oil, and milk. Then set this over here. Then we have our dry ingredients. We can add that. Now I'm going to use a rubber scraper or spatula. Remember, you don't want to overmix. Don't want to overmix. Okay, this is lovely. We're almost there. This makes 12 small muffins. So if you want to, if you have the bigger muffin pan, you'll want to double the recipe. Okay, so you just are going to mix this until it's mixed, and then you're going to stop. You can also put pumpkin seeds on top if you'd like, shelled pumpkin seeds. Okay, there we go. It's done. Let go. Don't keep mixing it. I have a muffin tin I greased up ahead of time that my grandmother gave me. It's always fun to have something that belonged to our family, isn't it? And I heavily buttered the pan. We're going to fill these muffin tins right up. So if you don't have muffin liners, you can just grease it well. I grease mine with butter. And then you can fill them 2/3 full usually is a common way to do it. Then if you have extra, you can go back. So let's go ahead and do this. What a lovely treat for the fall. Let's see how we're doing. We'll divide this evenly. Here we go. You can always go back, remember. So I need to put some in each one, then we'll go back. The rubber scraper is nice to go around the bowl with this, isn't it? Now, we need them all to be about the same size, because if they're the same size, they will bake evenly. Very important. Okay, now I'm gonna look at my batter here. Look at my muffins. Which ones need a bit more? You can kind of take the back of the spoon if you see. I'm just checking them out. That one looks like it has a bit extra, so I'm going to put some extra back here. Just make sure they're even. Let's check. That one doesn't have quite as much. This one has a bit more. You can just go like that with the back of the spoon, just kind of swirl it. That's the best way to do it, so you can see about how much you have in each muffin pan or muffin section. Okay, let's see, that has a bit more, so I'm going to take a little bit, put it right there. Give that another little swirl. This one still is a bit much, so I'm going to put it over here. Check this one out. Just the back of the spoon I find works really nicely. Let's see how much more we have in the bowl. Let me just set that there. So take that rubber scraper, go across that bowl, come up. So I'm going to look here and say these two definitely need a bit more. So does this one. Take the back of the spoon. Remember, these will puff up nicely. Sometimes it's nice not to have too large of a muffin, especially if you just want a smaller treat or something a little bit smaller at Thanksgiving and not too large. But this would be good with a cup of tea or hot chocolate too, right? Okay, let's look here. Like I said, I just like to see if they're close to being even. If not, I'll make sure. Just swirl that spoon around. I think a tiny bit more can be taken off this. You can see I'm a little picky, but that's how it goes when you're a chef and a teacher. How's that? That looks pretty darn even to me. So I'm going to put this in the oven at 350. Make sure you preheat the oven, and I'm going to say we'll put it in for about 15 to 17 minutes. I'm going to check it in 15 minutes. Okay, so I'll put that in and I'll see you when we come back. Welcome back. Our pumpkin spice muffins have just finished baking. I baked them for 16 minutes. They're a smaller muffin, not the big ones. So 16 minutes. I have this lovely bread basket and they're still piping hot. I'm taking them out of the muffin pan. Remember, I heavily buttered it with the knife here. I'm lifting it up and I'm going to set it right in here to serve with dinner tonight. Lovely pumpkin spice muffins. Here they are. Look at these. Is that beautiful or what? I know you'll enjoy them too. That lovely flavor of fall and all those beautiful spices. See you next time, Cooking with Mrs. Salisbury.